Byzantine fire pots. These early incendiary weapons were essentially ceramic or clay jars filled with the legendary and terrifying Greek fire. Primarily used by the Byzantine navy, they were hurled at enemy ships to ignite wooden decks with a flame that water simply could not extinguish. While primitive, the psychological terror of an unquenchable fire was often more effective than the physical damage of the blast itself. It required a brave, steady hand to light the wick and toss the fragile vessel before it shattered in the thrower's own hands. Grenade de main. Forged as heavy iron spheres filled with black powder, these gave rise to an elite class of soldiers who had to be both tall and incredibly strong to handle the weight. Using them was a high-stakes gamble. The thrower had to light a manual fuse and lob the 5-pound iron ball directly into enemy formations or palace gates. If the timing was off, the slow-burning wick gave the enemy just enough time to either run for cover or, in terrifying cases, throw the device back. Despite being clumsy and dangerous to the user, they were the first true ancestors of the modern handheld explosive. Question to you. Would you have volunteered to be an original grenadier, knowing you had to carry 5-pound iron balls and a lit match into the thick of a 17th century battle? Let me know in the comments. Number 15. Cricket ball. Born out of the desperate trenches of Gallipoli in 1915, this crude device was a temporary solution for British troops who were literally running out of proper weapons. Its simple cast-iron body and spherical shape quickly earned it a nickname associated with a popular British sport, but the reality was far from a game. To activate it, a soldier had to pull a friction wire, which was notoriously unreliable in the damp, muddy conditions of the front lines. Many veterans remembered these more for their tendency to fail or explode prematurely than for their actual destructive power. Mills bomb. Created by William Mills, this was the first truly successful modern grenade that introduced the revolutionary safety pin and striker lever system we still use today. Its cast-iron body featured a deeply serrated exterior, designed with the intent to shatter into lethal fragments upon detonation. British troops appreciated the safe design because it wouldn't explode in their pockets if the fuse was damp, unlike the unreliable early trench versions. It became a staple of trench clearing during the Great War and saw so many improvements that it remained in service for over half a century. Interestingly, the famous grooves were actually less effective at fragmentation than a smooth shell, but they provided a much-needed grip in the slippery mud of the front lines. Model 24 Steel hand grenade. Emerging as the signature weapon of the German infantry, this stick grenade utilized a long wooden handle to provide incredible leverage for long-distance throwing. Unlike its Allied counterparts, this design focused on concussive blast rather than shrapnel, relying on a thin steel casing filled with high explosives to clear rooms through pure overpressure. To prime it, a soldier had to unscrew the base cap and pull a porcelain bead attached to a friction igniter string, a process that became second nature to millions. The extra throwing distance meant a trained soldier could lob it much further than a spherical grenade, keeping them safely away from the blast radius in open fields. It was so iconic that Allied soldiers frequently kept them as souvenirs, though the aging explosive filler could become dangerously unstable over time. Mk2 Pineapple. This is perhaps the most recognizable grenade in history, becoming the standard issue explosive for American GIs across every theater of the Second World War. Early versions were painted bright yellow to indicate high explosives, but battlefield reality quickly forced a change to olive drab to avoid giving away a soldier's position to snipers. Its deeply grooved cast-iron shell gave it a distinct look, though post-war testing ironically proved the body often shattered into only a few large, unpredictable chunks rather than a fine mist of metal. Beyond just throwing it, soldiers occasionally taped several units together to create improvised anti-tank charges in the desperate street fights of Europe. Despite its technical flaws, it served as the psychological backbone of the U.S. infantry, clearing bunkers and foxholes from the sands of North Africa to the jungles of the Pacific. Type 97. This Japanese infantry staple came with a bizarre and often fatal operational requirement. A soldier had to strike the firing pin against a hard surface, like a helmet or a boot, to ignite the fuse before throwing. While intended to prevent accidental activation, this meant a frantic soldier in the heat of battle might fail to hit it hard enough, or worse, strike it so hard that the entire device shattered in their hands. It was packed with TNT and produced a decent fragmentation pattern, but the unpredictable 5-second delay turned every throw into a desperate gamble against time. Many Allied soldiers who captured these as trophies quickly learned how temperamental the internal components could be after months in the humid Pacific heat. Number 74, Sticky Bomb. Perhaps the most eccentric weapon of the British Home Guard, this was essentially a glass sphere filled with nitroglycerin and coated in a powerful birdlime adhesive. It was designed to be thrown at passing tanks, sticking to the hull before detonating with enough force to punch through steel plating. However, the reality was often a comedy of errors, as the adhesive was just as likely to stick to the soldier's own wool uniform as it was to a German panzer. Despite being rejected by the regular army for being far too dangerous to the user, it remained in production largely because of Winston Churchill's personal fascination with its sticky potential. F1 Limonka. Earning its famous nickname from its fruit-like appearance, this Soviet powerhouse became the gold standard for defensive grenades during the Great Patriotic War. It is a true defensive weapon, meaning the heavy cast-iron fragments can fly up to 200 meters, far further than the average soldier can actually throw it. This forced troops to use it only from the safety of a deep trench or a solid bunker to avoid being hit by their own shrapnel. Its simple, rugged design proved so reliable that it has remained in active service for over 80 years, appearing in nearly every major conflict across the globe since the 1940s. RKG-3. This heavy-hitting anti-tank weapon was essentially a giant-shaped charge on a handle, designed to punch through the thick roof armor of Western tanks. To ensure it hit the target nose first, it deployed a small 4-panel fabric parachute mid-air to stabilize its flight path immediately after being thrown. It required incredible nerves of steel to use, as the soldier had to be within 20 meters of an enemy tank for a successful strike. While it is largely obsolete against modern reactive armor, its psychological impact during urban ambushes remained legendary for decades. Interestingly, the parachute didn't just stabilize the flight. It served as a terrifying visual warning to any tank crew that a massive explosion was exactly 1 second away. M26 Lemon. Developing a replacement for the classic pineapple, American engineers moved away from the bulky cast-iron shell in favor of a smoother, more aerodynamic steel body. Inside, they hid a tightly coiled serrated wire that shattered into thousands of tiny uniform fragments upon detonation, making it far more lethal and predictable than its predecessor. It earned its citrus-themed nickname due to its distinct oval shape, fitting perfectly in the palm of a soldier's hand for a precise long-distance throw. It saw extensive action during the Korean and Vietnam Wars, proving that sometimes a lemon is exactly what you need on the front line. The design was so effective that it influenced almost every Western fragmentation weapon that followed for the next 30 years. RGD-5. This sleek egg-shaped device became the ultimate offensive weapon of the Soviet bloc, designed to be thrown while the soldier was still moving forward in an assault. Because its thin steel shell produces fragments that lose energy quickly, the thrower doesn't need to dive for cover as desperately as they would with a defensive model. It is remarkably simple to manufacture, consisting of just 2 stamped metal halves joined by a seam, making it one of the most widely produced explosives in human history. Even today, you can find these in almost every corner of the globe, from professional military armories to the hands of irregular insurgents. Its reliability in extreme cold and heat made it a favorite among troops who just wanted a tool that worked every single time, no matter the environment. V40 Mini Grenade. Small enough to be mistaken for a golf ball, this Dutch-designed masterpiece became a favorite among elite special forces and recon teams during the Vietnam War. Because of its tiny size and featherweight design, a single soldier could carry triple the usual combat load of explosives without being weighed down. Its internal shell was lined with hundreds of small steel balls, ensuring that despite its diminutive stature, it packed a lethal punch within a 5-meter radius. It was particularly effective for breaking contact during ambushes, where the volume of fire and rapid tossing were more important than a single massive blast. It remains one of the most efficient uses of weight and space in the entire history of infantry ordnance. M67 Baseball. Designed to feel as natural as a sports ball in an American soldier's hand, this spherical explosive replaced the older Lemon model to provide a more predictable and longer-reaching throw. Its smooth steel body houses a potent composition B filler that creates a devastating pressure wave and uniform fragmentation upon detonation. The simplified design and incredibly reliable fuse mechanism have made it the gold standard for NATO forces for over half a century. Whether clearing a room in a modern urban environment or suppressing a jungle ambush, its consistent performance has earned it a permanent spot in the infantryman's kit. It is a testament to the idea that sometimes the simplest shape is the most effective tool for the job. RGO or RGN. Developed during the Soviet-Afghan War, these twin models introduced a terrifying new technology: the impact-sensitive dual-action fuse. In the steep mountains of the Hindu Kush, traditional timed grenades often rolled back down the slopes toward the thrower before detonating, creating a suicidal tactical nightmare. These new versions solved the problem by exploding instantly the moment they struck a hard surface, giving the enemy zero time to react or dive for cover. While the lighter version was designed for offensive assaults, its heavier counterpart featured a pre-fragmented jacket for maximum defensive lethality. It transformed mountain warfare by turning every rocky outcrop and cave entrance into a potential instant kill zone. HG-85 or DM-51. This Swiss-designed marvel brought true modularity to the infantryman's belt, allowing a soldier to switch between offensive and defensive roles in seconds. By simply sliding off the outer plastic fragmentation sleeve, you transform it from a deadly shrapnel weapon into a pure blast pressure device for clearing rooms. It is engineered with such precision that it remains remarkably stable even when exposed to extreme heat or direct gunfire. NATO forces, particularly the German Bundeswehr, adopted it for its incredibly uniform spray of thousands of tiny steel balls. It effectively ended the era of having to carry two different types of heavy explosives for different tactical situations. SOHG, Scalable Offensive. Often described as the Lego of the modern arsenal, this stackable system allows soldiers to literally screw multiple units together to customize their explosive power. Each individual module is a blast-only cylinder, but combining three of them creates a massive overpressure wave capable of leveling an entire bunker or fortified room. Since it relies on pure shockwaves rather than flying metal fragments, it is the perfect tool for urban environments where you need to take out a target without hitting civilians in the next room. Special operations units favor this design because it provides unparalleled flexibility for high-risk maritime and counter-terrorist missions. It represents a major shift in thinking, from how much metal can we throw, to how much atmospheric pressure can we apply. Alcatec's G811. This French innovation takes the concept of controlled lethality to its logical conclusion by offering a selectable lethal radius on a single device. With a simple twist of the casing, the operator can choose between a focused 5-meter blast for close-quarters fighting or a wide 20-meter fragmentation mode for open fields. This two-in-one capability simplifies the logistical nightmare of supplying troops with specialized ordnance for every possible scenario. It also features a sophisticated safety mechanism that prevents the fuse from arming if the grenade is dropped or handled roughly during a frantic extraction. It is truly a surgical tool for the modern soldier who needs to be precise, not just destructive. EHGR, Electronic Hand Grenade. Representing the absolute cutting edge of 21st century tech, this American prototype replaces the traditional mechanical striker with a high-precision digital fuse. By moving away from old-fashioned springs and chemical primers, engineers have created a weapon with a detonation delay that is accurate to within 1/1000th of a second. This digital brain allows for advanced features like proximity sensing, or even a neutralization mode if the thrower realizes the situation has changed mid-arc. While still in the testing phase, it promises to eliminate the dud rate that has plagued infantrymen since the days of the early clay pots. It is the final proof that even the simplest weapons on the battlefield are eventually going digital. Question for you: we've gone from clay pots and sticky bombs to digital, programmable explosives. Do you think adding electronics to a grenade makes it a better tool, or are we just adding more things that can break in the mud? Thank you for watching this deep dive into the evolution of pocket-sized destruction. If you enjoyed this trip through military history, make sure to hit the subscribe button and join our community of tech enthusiasts.